In the quaint and seemingly serene town of Brooksville, the murder of Richard Taylor, a well-respected local businessman, sends shockwaves through the community. Taylor, a man known for his philanthropic efforts and business acumen, is found dead in his opulent office late one night. The initial discovery is made by a late-night cleaner who stumbles upon Taylor's lifeless body slumped over his mahogany desk, his face contorted in a final expression of terror. The room is eerily quiet, save for the hum of the office's fluorescent lights and the faint scent of expensive cologne mingling with the metallic tang of blood. Detective Lisa Harper, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for solving high-profile cases, is called to the scene. Harper, known for her meticulous approach and intuitive grasp of human behavior, surveys the office with a sharp eye. The room shows signs of a struggle, but there are no immediate indications of forced entry, suggesting that Taylor may have known his assailant. The detective's attention is drawn to a cryptic note left on the desk. The note, written in a scrawling, almost frantic hand, reads, "The truth lies in the shadows." Its meaning is unclear, but it hints at deeper secrets lurking beneath the surface. Harper begins her investigation by examining the office's surveillance footage. The tapes reveal a shadowy figure entering and leaving the building at odd hours, their face obscured by a hooded sweatshirt and a mask. The figure's movements are deliberate, almost as if they are familiar with the building's layout. Despite extensive efforts, the figure's identity remains elusive, adding to the growing sense of mystery surrounding the case. The detective's initial interviews with Taylor's family and business associates provide a glimpse into the victim's life. Taylor's wife, Emily, is distraught but insists that her husband had no known enemies. She describes Taylor as a dedicated family man who worked long hours but was always loving and supportive. The couple's young children are shielded from the media frenzy, but their presence adds to the emotional weight of the investigation. Taylor's business partner, Andrew Wells, is another key figure in the case. Wells, a man with a sharp business mind and a penchant for secrecy, is known to have had a strained relationship with Taylor. The two had been involved in a contentious business venture that failed spectacularly, causing financial and personal rifts between them. Wells is immediately brought in for questioning, and his demeanor is both defensive and evasive. He claims to have been at home at the time of the murder, providing an alibi that Harper finds dubious. Wells' story is complicated by the revelation that Taylor had been receiving anonymous threats in the weeks leading up to his death. These threats, which began as vague warnings, escalated to direct confrontations. Taylor had confided in a few close associates about his concerns, but no one seemed to take the threats seriously. The detective reviews Taylor's correspondence and phone records, searching for any connections that might point to a motive for the murder. Amidst the investigation, a new character emerges, Julia Sanders, a former employee of Taylor's company. Sanders had been dismissed under mysterious circumstances shortly before the murder. Her sudden reappearance near the crime scene raises suspicion. Harper learns that Sanders had a heated argument with Taylor just days before his death, adding a layer of complexity to the case. Sanders is known for her volatile temperament and has a reputation for holding grudges, making her a person of interest in the investigation. As Detective Harper delves deeper into Taylor's life, she uncovers a series of hidden alliances and unresolved conflicts. The cryptic note left at the crime scene becomes a focal point for the investigation, hinting at a deeper conspiracy. Harper's instincts tell her that there is more to this murder than meets the eye. The initial evidence suggests a personal connection to Taylor, but the true nature of that connection remains obscured by a veil of deception. The first part of the investigation sets the stage for a complex and tangled web of lies, motives, and hidden agendas. Detective Lisa Harper is determined to unravel the truth behind Richard Taylor's murder, knowing that the key to solving the case lies in deciphering the clues left in the shadows. As the investigation progresses, the stakes rise, and the pressure mounts to bring the perpetrator to justice before more secrets come to light. Detective Lisa Harper's investigation into Richard Taylor's murder continues to unravel a complex tapestry of deceit and hidden agendas. With Taylor's murder creating a stir in Brooksville, the detective's focus narrows on two main suspects, Andrew Wells and Julia Sanders. As she digs deeper into their backgrounds and connections to Taylor, the investigation reveals a series of lies, conflicting testimonies, and a web of deceit that complicates the search for the truth. Andrew Wells, Taylor's business partner, is known for his ambitious nature and a reputation for playing hardball in the business world. The tension between Wells and Taylor was no secret, with their recent business venture, a real estate development project, having ended in disaster. The failed project resulted in significant financial losses, strained their professional relationship, and led to heated arguments in public and private. Wells claims to have been at home on the night of the murder, but Harper finds his alibi to be shaky. Neighbors report seeing Wells' car parked near the office building during the hours in question, but Wells maintains that he was merely out for a late-night drive to clear his head. Wells' demeanor during questioning is a mix of defensiveness and frustration. He admits to having had a confrontation with Taylor over their failed business deal, but insists that he had no reason to resort to violence. Despite his claims of innocence, the detective uncovers evidence of Wells' financial difficulties. Bank statements reveal that Wells was facing severe debt and had been under immense pressure to recoup his losses. Harper suspects that these financial woes could have provided a motive for murder. Julia Sanders, the former employee of Taylor's company, emerges as another key figure in the investigation. Sanders was dismissed under circumstances that remain murky and contentious. Interviews with former colleagues reveal that Sanders had been a dedicated worker until a significant disagreement with Taylor led to her abrupt termination. Taylor had accused Sanders of embezzling funds, a claim that Sanders vehemently denies. Her dismissal left her bitter and resentful, fueling speculation that she might have sought revenge against Taylor. Sanders' presence near the crime scene on the night of the murder raises additional suspicions. Witnesses claim to have seen her in the vicinity, and surveillance footage captures a figure resembling Sanders near the office building. When questioned, Sanders claims she was merely passing by, but her alibi lacks corroboration. She describes Taylor as a tyrant who had ruined her career and personal life, but her explanations come across as self-serving. Sanders also reveals that she had been receiving threats from unknown individuals, but she attributes these threats to her involvement in the company's financial issues, rather than Taylor himself. As Harper delves into Sanders' background, she discovers that Sanders had been actively involved in a secretive online forum where disgruntled employees and former associates of Taylor's company had congregated. This forum was a hotbed of conspiracy theories and grievances against Taylor, suggesting that Sanders might have been influenced by external pressures or by other individuals who held grudges against the businessman. The investigation takes a dramatic turn when Harper finds evidence of an ongoing financial investigation into Taylor's company. The detective learns that Taylor was on the verge of uncovering a significant embezzlement scheme that implicated several high-profile figures, including Wells and Sanders. This revelation adds a new layer of complexity to the case, as it suggests that the murder could be tied to a broader conspiracy involving financial fraud and corruption. In an effort to understand the full scope of the conspiracy, Harper reviews Taylor's recent communications and financial records. She discovers a series of encrypted emails and documents hinting at a covert investigation into irregularities within the company. These documents suggest that Taylor had been working with an anonymous informant who provided him with crucial information about the embezzlement scheme. The identity of this informant remains unknown, but their involvement adds another layer of intrigue to the case. As the investigation progresses, Detective Harper faces mounting pressure from the community and from her superiors. The town is on edge, and the media frenzy surrounding the case amplifies the scrutiny on Harper's efforts. The detective must navigate through the labyrinth of lies and deceit, piecing together fragmented evidence to uncover the truth behind Richard Taylor's murder. The second part of the investigation reveals a tangled web of deceit involving Andrew Wells, Julia Sanders, and potentially other unknown conspirators. The more Harper uncovers, the more it becomes clear that the murder is intricately connected to a larger scheme of financial corruption and betrayal. With each new clue, the detective inches closer to uncovering the real motive behind Taylor's murder, but the complexity of the case ensures that the truth remains elusive. As Harper continues her pursuit, she must untangle the web of lies and deceit that shrouds the investigation, hoping to find the key that will lead her to the true perpetrator. As Detective Lisa Harper's investigation intensifies, new evidence surfaces that casts a shadow over the entire case. The discovery of financial irregularities within Richard Taylor's company introduces a new dimension to the murder investigation. The complex web of deceit surrounding Taylor's death is now tangled with layers of embezzlement, hidden agendas, and potential criminal networks. With Andrew Wells and Julia Sanders under scrutiny, Harper's focus shifts to unraveling the full extent of their involvement and uncovering any hidden enemies that may be pulling the strings behind the scenes. The detective's deep dive into Taylor's financial records reveals a troubling pattern of mismanagement and fraudulent transactions. It becomes clear that Taylor's company was not only suffering from financial losses but was also being systematically looted. The embezzlement scheme is more elaborate than initially thought, involving multiple actors and a network of hidden transactions. Harper learns that Taylor had been working with an anonymous informant to expose these financial crimes. The informant's identity remains a mystery, but their role is critical in understanding the broader context of the crime. As Harper sifts through the evidence, she uncovers that both Andrew Wells and Julia Sanders were entangled in the embezzlement scheme. Wells, with his substantial debts and strained relationship with Taylor, had much to gain from the company's downfall. His financial troubles, combined with his business rivalry with Taylor, present a motive for murder. Wells' attempts to distance himself from the crime become increasingly transparent as Harper's investigation reveals discrepancies in his alibi and false statements regarding his whereabouts on the night of the murder. Julia Sanders, on the other hand, is found to have been more deeply involved in the company's financial misdeeds than previously suspected. Her resentment towards Taylor, stemming from her dismissal and accusations of embezzlement, seems to align with a motive for revenge. Sanders' claim of receiving threats, coupled with her presence near the crime scene, further complicates her position. Harper learns that Sanders had been actively participating in discussions on an online forum where disgruntled employees and associates of Taylor's company shared grievances and conspiracy theories. This forum provided a platform for anger and discontent, potentially influencing Sanders' actions. The investigation takes a pivotal turn when Harper receives a tip from an anonymous source. The informant reveals that there was a clandestine meeting held shortly before Taylor's murder. According to the source, the meeting involved key figures from the company and was focused on discussing the embezzlement scheme and Taylor's impending investigation. The tip points to a high-level conspiracy involving not just Wells and Sanders but also other influential figures within the company who had a vested interest in silencing Taylor. Harper's analysis of the meeting details and the timeline of events reveals that the conspiracy was more sophisticated than anticipated. The hidden enemy behind Taylor's murder is not just a single individual but a coordinated effort by multiple actors with conflicting interests. The detective learns that Taylor's investigation had uncovered evidence implicating several high-ranking officials in the embezzlement scheme, making him a threat to their financial security and professional reputations. As Harper connects the dots, she identifies a key figure who appears to be orchestrating the conspiracy from behind the scenes. This individual, a senior executive with access to sensitive information, emerges as a potential mastermind. The executive had been working closely with Wells and Sanders, using them as pawns in a larger scheme to maintain control over the company's assets and evade detection. The pressure mounts as Harper confronts Wells and Sanders with this new information. Both suspects vehemently deny any involvement with the senior executive and continue to shift blame onto each other. The tangled web of lies and deceit makes it challenging to separate fact from fiction, but Harper's persistence and analytical skills lead her to focus on the executive's connections and motivations. In a high-stakes confrontation, Harper gathers the suspects and the key figures in the case for a dramatic showdown. She presents the evidence linking the senior executive to the embezzlement scheme and Taylor's murder, revealing the full extent of the conspiracy. The executive's involvement in the plot to frame Wells and Sanders becomes apparent, shedding light on the complex interplay of motives and actions that led to Taylor's death. The third part of the investigation brings Detective Harper closer to the truth behind Richard Taylor's murder. The revelation of a hidden enemy orchestrating a multifaceted conspiracy adds depth to the case, highlighting the intricate connections between financial fraud, personal vendettas, and criminal networks. As Harper prepares for the final stages of the investigation, the challenge remains to unravel the remaining threads of the conspiracy and bring the true perpetrators to justice. Detective Lisa Harper's investigation has reached a critical juncture. With the complex web of deceit slowly unraveling, the time has come to confront the mastermind behind Richard Taylor's murder. The evidence has pointed to a high-ranking executive within Taylor's company, who orchestrated a sophisticated conspiracy involving multiple actors. Now, Harper must finalize her investigation, expose the truth, and bring the perpetrators to justice. The pivotal moment arrives when Harper orchestrates a carefully planned sting operation. Using the information gathered during the investigation, she sets up a scenario designed to catch the key suspects in the act. The operation involves monitoring the senior executive and coordinating with undercover agents to ensure the integrity of the evidence. The goal is to capture the executive's involvement in the embezzlement scheme and the murder of Richard Taylor. The sting operation takes place at a secluded warehouse where the executive is known to conduct covert meetings. As Harper and her team prepare for the operation, tensions run high. The warehouse is equipped with hidden surveillance cameras and listening devices to capture every detail of the proceedings. Harper's strategy involves luring the executive into a false sense of security, using a fabricated meeting to discuss a supposed cover-up. As the operation unfolds, the senior executive arrives at the warehouse, accompanied by several trusted associates. The meeting begins with a discussion of the embezzlement scheme and the efforts to suppress Taylor's investigation. Harper listens intently through the surveillance equipment, gathering crucial evidence of the executive's role in orchestrating the murder and manipulating Wells and Sanders. The conversation reveals the executive's motivations, a desperate bid to protect their financial interests and avoid exposure. The situation takes a dramatic turn when the senior executive receives a call from Julia Sanders, who has been coerced into participating in the conspiracy. Sanders, now visibly distressed, attempts to contact the executive to negotiate a deal. Harper seizes the opportunity to confront Sanders, who is apprehended while trying to destroy incriminating evidence. Sanders, faced with overwhelming evidence, breaks down and confesses to her role in the murder. She reveals that she was coerced into participating by the executive, who threatened her safety and livelihood. With Sanders' confession and the evidence collected during the sting operation, Harper moves to arrest the senior executive and their associates. The operation is executed flawlessly, and the suspects are taken into custody without incident. The arrest of the senior executive marks a significant breakthrough in the case, providing closure to the complex investigation. In the aftermath of the operation, Detective Harper debriefs with her team and prepares to present the findings to the public. The case against the senior executive is solidified by the evidence gathered during the sting operation, including recorded conversations, financial documents, and witness testimonies. The executive is charged with conspiracy, embezzlement, and the murder of Richard Taylor. Wells and Sanders are also charged, but their roles in the conspiracy are mitigated by their cooperation and the threats they faced. The resolution of the case brings a sense of relief and justice to the community of Brooksville. The murder of Richard Taylor, once shrouded in mystery and deceit, is finally understood in the context of a larger conspiracy involving financial fraud and personal vendettas. The investigation highlights the destructive power of greed and the lengths to which individuals will go to protect their interests. Detective Lisa Harper reflects on the case, acknowledging the challenges and complexities that arose during the investigation. The case served as a reminder of the importance of perseverance and meticulous attention to detail in the pursuit of justice. Harper's dedication to uncovering the truth and bringing the perpetrators to justice underscores the vital role of law enforcement in maintaining integrity and fairness. As the town begins to heal from the trauma of Taylor's murder, Harper's efforts are recognized and celebrated. The successful resolution of the case restores a sense of order and trust within the community. The intricate layers of deceit and the hidden enemy behind the murder are brought to light, providing a clear and compelling narrative of the events that transpired. The final chapter of the investigation closes with a sense of accomplishment and closure. Detective Harper's work has not only solved a high-profile murder case, but also exposed the broader implications of corruption and betrayal. The resolution of the case serves as a testament to the relentless pursuit of truth and the enduring commitment to justice.